Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Director's Chair.
What does it really take to lead 4 thriving childcare centers while keeping your team motivated and your mission alive? Well, today's episode of the Childcare Director's Chair podcast, I'm going to talk with Sean Toner, the owner and president of Beach Babies Childcare in Delaware. From walking the halls of each location to serving as the treasurer of the DAEYC, he pulls back the curtain on the challenges and rewards of overseeing a multi-site childcare program. With 650 children, that is a lot. 130 members, God bless you. And a leadership philosophy rooted in connection and collaboration, Sean's going to share how he balances growth, advocacy, day-to-day leadership. So if you ever wondered what it was like to lead at scale without losing your heart of your work, this conversation is for you. The other thing I want to point out for those of you just listening on the podcast, are you at home, Sean?
Yes.
He is at home. I want you all to let that sink in. Multiple childcare owner locations, huge team. He is at home recording from home. So some folks at one center are like, how do you get out? How do you even get lunch? So we're going to share a little bit of that today, your strategy. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about your family. So your family started Beach Babies back in 1997?
Yeah, that's correct.
So when you look back, like, what was the original vision that your mom had, and how have you built upon that or reshaped the vision stepping into your own leadership?
So I can't really talk about the vision without talking about just how Beach Babies got started. My dad transferred to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, 1992 as the postmaster. And for those who don't know Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, back in that time, there was no childcare in this area. So my mom saw the need for that childcare and the need for high quality education. And that's what led to the start of Beach Babies actually in our house. We started in our house with just me and a few other friends and kids. And we just grew from there. We grew to our first house, outgrew that, got a second house, and we eventually built our flagship place in Lewis right now, which stands at 10,000 square feet in 2001.
As you grew, what do you think the secret to the success of your growth was?
The secret to success for growth was my mom. My mom was Beach Babies Childcare when we first started, and that's how we grew. We didn't actually expand until my dad retired because my mom was so much in the trenches of the everyday, day-to-day, that we couldn't focus on the financials. And when my dad retired, it allowed my mom to focus more on how do we expand. And within 2 years, we had 2 sites. We opened our Rehoboth in 2009.
So you said some really key things there. So you said it allowed mom time to focus on the financials, get out of the day-to-day trenches, and that was when you guys were able to grow. Because a lot of folks make that mistake, and I will say that was me for a long time as well. We can get so caught up in, what teacher didn't come in and do I need to order paper plates, that you really do miss the bigger picture. But once you're allowed to step back, it becomes a lot clearer. It's a lot easier to see the full picture, I think.
Absolutely, I agree. And a lot of that allowed us to build the team that we have. I mean, we have now some administrators that have been with us since, 1997 for 20-something, almost 30 years now. And that allowed us to really focus on the other part of the business, knowing that they have this handled. They can control this center. This is their ship. They're the captain of this ship.
Yeah. Want to give any secrets on how you got folks to that level?
Built them up internally. A lot of internal. One of our best administrators, Gina, she's been with us since she was a 2-year-old teacher. She started in the trenches, in the classrooms, and she worked her way up. And that's been the same way for the majority of our administrative staff now. We have 13 administrators, and I believe 7 or 8 of them started in classrooms with us.
Yeah. I do agree with you. That is definitely the key, to have some folks that really have seen the growth and understand the vision and mission. I do think too, one of the things that has been nice is also bringing in some new perspectives as well. I think those two things together work quite nicely together. We too also, our admin team, all have kind of come up through the trenches. My largest school is run by Angela, who also was a toddler teacher many years ago, but now I think she's at, I don't know, maybe year 12 or 13. She's going to kill me if I get it wrong, but it's up there. It's definitely in the teens. It might even be more than that. And my daughter taking over the reins, like you took over for your mom, my daughter and my niece and nephew are really like kind of focusing on that part at our center. So I think what you say here really makes a lot of sense to me. It sounds very familiar to my own life story there. So, growing from one small family center to 4 locations, that's really no small feat. So, how do you ensure growth doesn't water down your values and even maybe amplifies them? Because scaling is tricky.
It is. It's very tricky, and it's not easy to do, especially like you said, without watering down your values. And I kind of just touched on it a little bit. It goes back to just having a good, solid team behind you and knowing that when you step away, I've been away since July. My daughter was born July 3rd, and I've been periodically going in, when I need to, but I've been working from home since because I know that my team is going to do the right things. They know our values. They were raised up in our values. They know our philosophies, and they instill those philosophies not only in the children, but the teachers, the parents, and outside of the school if they're in our community.
Yeah. So you have, excuse me, you have a pretty big team. Do you overhire so that you have enough staff to meet your scheduling needs? How do you come up with that number? Is it just 2 teachers in a room and then a couple admin, or do you
We
have
try to
a
overhire. Yeah, we do try to
yeah,
overhire. Yes, like anybody. But I'll be the first to admit we're understaffed right now. We have closed classrooms still. We have an infant classroom closed in Lewis. We have ratios at some of our other classrooms at our other sites just because we can't find the consistent
yeah,
staff that want to stay in the early education field. We get them in, we train them, but then they get that next opportunity for $1 more an hour or $1.50 more or whatever it may be at Wawa, Walmart, Tanger, any of the outlets. And it's really hard to keep that younger generation because it is tough to say, what do you guys need? Or what do you want in us that you can create not just a job out of this, but a career out of this?
yeah. I think some of this might have to do with just the way that childcare is structured and ratios and all those things, because they really do. And I just speak because I work with a lot of folks that are, the younger generation, as most of us do. They really value their time in a different way than other generations. So if they want to work a 3-day or 4-day week, they can do that in retail. They can say, "Hey, I want," but we don't have that flexibility. So sometimes it's that alone. It isn't even always the money. It's more the time, because they just value time. They value time like we value money. Really, to that, sometimes it's not always the pay, but that flexibility that our industry doesn't always allow.
I mean, not that we can't even allow it. It's not that we can even have it. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're at Wawa, if you have a staff that calls out, you cut your hours. If you have a staff that calls out in childcare, you got to close the classroom or your admin's going into the classroom. And
Yeah.
it's tough, especially on the parents, because they're
Yeah.
wondering, where's my child going to go if you have to close the classroom because you got 3 teachers out?
Yeah. It's it's hard. I have teachers out today.
So do I.
I was like, guys, it's Wednesday. Wednesday is non-negotiable for Erica. We made it work, but we also have a director, an assistant director. Like, we have a pretty big admin team and 2 owners that work on site and all the things. So we do make it work. But yeah, it's usually an admin that's going in a room
Yeah.
for sure.
It's the same with us. We have our school administrator, then we have our director of education, and then
Hmm.
if our larger centers, we also have a front desk person that is typically qualified as an admin or some kind of.
Sure, sure. So for our admins who are listening, you're not alone. I promise you, the grass is not greener somewhere else. This is an industry thing. So, and for those folks who are, looking to apply for those director positions, if you think that means you're never going back in a classroom, that's a lie.
Wrong.
You will go in, but there are advantages to that too, because you can stay connected as we talked earlier, staying connected with your kids and your families and your team. And they know that you're right there along the side with them, that you're not afraid to hop in a trench when necessary, but you can't stay there permanently. So I think that that's good. Okay. So, you talked a little bit about your employees and their team members, their voices. Like, how have they helped shape your success? I know you said it's really that team, but how do you practically weave staff input into the larger vision of your organization?
I listen to my staff. I listen to my team members through surveys, through, our anonymous box postings where you can put notes in there for suggestions. There are yearly evaluations. I make a point of emphasis to make sure I read every single one of them my administrators send me because I want to know how we can improve. I constantly want to know what can we do to make this better. A great example is last year it's called TBRI, Trust-Based Relational Intervention. It's a 4-day training that we did. It was suggested by one of our team members who did it off-site. And she's like, hey, this is a great training. I know this person. And she introduced me to the trainer. And it turned out to be fantastic training that we did for all of our team members. We closed 4 days across, 1 day across 4 months. And we did 4 different trainings for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, professional development for sure is important, and that does help people stay and grow and be connected and also feel valued and poured into, right? And even just the fact that you closed down your business and said you are a priority too, not just the customers, not just the children, but you are equally a priority. We did the same last year. We held a conference and we closed down Friday and Saturday and we poured into our team too. And I do think it's important. It says a lot about where you value not only the time, but where you invest your money and into your teachers. So I think that that's great. So let's talk about maybe balancing advocacy and operations. So as a leader who's actively involved in your state's AUIC and other organizations, how do you balance day-to-day realities of running centers with the bigger responsibility of shaping policy and advocacy? Because sometimes those are conflicting.
It is very tough. We are going through regulation changes and right now going through OCCL. And it's tough looking at the regulations and saying, well, we want to strengthen this because it'll make it better. But then as the business owner, I'm looking at it like, man, this is going to make it so much more difficult, but I understand the reasoning for it. So it's really difficult to weigh it. And it's at the end of the day, we have to look at the bigger picture. It's not about us. It's about the children. It's about making sure the children are safe, making sure they're learning and making sure that they're being prepared for their future.
I totally agree with that. And I think too, it is important for us to have our voices as childcare owners at these tables because there are perspectives that we bring that maybe folks who don't run centers, it may not even cross their mind. And then there will be times too that we'll be in the office and, we'll get this new regulation and we're in the office talking to ourselves like, blah, 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 blah. But if you were not at the meetings, if you were not involved, like you can't be mad about it after. You've got to be actively involved. Do you guys have state funded pre-K in your state?
Yes and no. We have our Head Starts, some state funded pre-K programs, a lot take advantage of are mostly private childcare centers.
Yeah, so some states are really being hit hard with that.
I mean, look at New
UPK.
Mexico, but look what New Mexico did with that's, and we've been trying to get in touch with them, just like I'm sure every AC has been trying to get in touch with them, like how they did it, because that is what I think the future is going to be.
Yeah,
Where you're partnered with not just public but private for every child.
yeah. And parents, have that choice. So what are you thinking? You might have just kind of hit it right there, but where do you see the biggest opportunities for innovation in early childhood education? And maybe how are you preparing your company to be ahead of the curve?
So currently, right now, we're on the process of getting the majority of our staff CDA certified.
Okay.
We have partnered with Delaware State University. It's the ECIC, the Early Childhood Innovation Center, and we have created our own cohorts within our centers. We have currently almost 40 staff that are on the way to getting their CDA. And that is because we see that being the future of education. The higher qualifications, the higher degrees, that is where we're pushing towards because we want to create this to be a professional field. We want to be looked at the same as the public K to 12 teachers because at the end of the day, we are just as certified and just as professional, and we deserve to be treated as professionals like we are.
Yeah. So do you have a quality rating in your state? Do you
We
have a
did.
QRS? You did, but is it gone?
It was stars, yes, and that was disbanded a couple of years ago, and now it's a different program. It's called the Q. Oh my gosh, they've changed the acronym. Sorry, if not QIS, QRIS, whatever. It's a quality insurance system where essentially it's a one-time fund that we can apply for each year. And it's based upon your enrollment and your purchase of care a percentage.
Yeah, I saw some states were taking away the quality ratings. In our state, I'm in Rhode Island, so I'm very like right next to Boston where a lot of this stuff comes out of. So a CDA is only a level 3 teacher in our state. So yeah, so there's a lot of variations depending on where you work, but I do love the CDA. I think it's a very, very valid program. I went through it myself. My daughter did. Many of our teachers did. I'm actually going to be at their conference on the 8th, 9th, and 10th, their leadership conference, meeting people and doing interviews and all the things. They're fantastic over there. So I'm glad that you're investing in that and see the value in that as part of the future for your company. What advice would you give to directors or owners who dream of expanding beyond one location, but worry about losing that connection with staff and families and children?
It's about having your processes set in place. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it is. It's about making sure that your handbook's in place, your staff handbook, and your parent handbook, so that you don't have to worry about the policy day to days and you can focus on your philosophies, your culture, and your everything just kind of falls into place. You have operations, you have everything set up so that if A happens, you know that B, C, and D are followed. It's about making cut, yeah, and that's how we did it. I mean, we focused a lot on getting our handbook set, and it's constantly changing, and we have to evaluate so that I can focus on our culture, our philosophies, the advocacy, and that way I know when something happens, my admins say, I don't have to call Sean because I'm just going to be doing this, this, and this because this is
The
how they
steps
want
are
to.
there, yeah.
Yes.
To duplicate it. I hate to say McDonald's is really good at that, right? That duplication, but it was really based on that system. They were just one of the very first companies in the world to really understand the importance of systems, training, and processes. Here's the bun, here's the thing. I hate to make those connections, but the value of a process when you're talking about scale. Just in that contrast, scale, McDonald's, I mean, nobody is scaled bigger than McDonald's, right?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I mean that's the perfect reason why they were just really ahead of the game when it came to systems. All right, so I know you're a super young guy. You just talked about having a baby, so you may not have even thought this far yet. But when you think about the next 10 or 20 years, what do you hope that your legacy in early childhood education will be? Not just for beach babies, but maybe just your state and beyond. Because you're a parent, right? You can even answer as a parent. What do you hope that early childhood education will look like?
Honestly, I hope that it's available. I hope that it's affordable. I hope that it's high quality. I hope that it's setting the kids up for our future so that when they do enter our public school systems or our higher education systems or whatever they may choose, they are able to process and be part of the groups. The biggest thing we see when we talk with our K to 12 readiness teams is they're like, we don't care if they can count 1 to 2. We don't care if they say ABCs. We want them to be able to process the emotional growth and things like that so that when they enter, this is easier for us to manage. So they're not having the disciplinary actions, the behavioral therapy. more behavioral, so there's no expulsions. That's what I hope my legacy kind of goes towards, is being part of that.
Helping children really have
I
those
mean,
coping skills. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've honestly really never thought about it until we had an oral discussion about it, and then I'm thinking about it and just thinking about it. I've never really thought about it. I mean, I have a young daughter; she's 2 months old. That's my legacy. I mean,
Yeah.
she's my legacy, my future. That's
Yeah.
our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is why so many of us get called into this work. You know, your mom got called into it, but like you said, it started with you and a few of the friends, right? And that is how many of us get called into this work. Becoming a parent is very transformative and it changes the way that you look at everything. So, thank you for sharing that. So, I guess my last question as we start to wrap up, if you could challenge another childcare leader out there listening today, what's one bold step towards being a visionary leader that they can take in their own programs? Like, what would that be? Maybe somebody's just like, I've got one center. I really feel like I want to, move up to another center. They get the systems part. But as a leader, maybe what attributes do you need, or what do you feel is like that secret sauce that makes a good leader?
The secret sauce, I guess, would just be just taking that step. As crazy as that sounds, you have to take that step for you to be able to be part of that visionary, that leader that you want to be, that you see the other people of the 5, 6, 7, 12 centers. They took that step. And it's scary to take that step because sometimes it's putting a lot of money on the line, or sometimes it's putting your house on the line, or whatever it may be. But being a bold visionary, you have to be bold. And that's sometimes being out on that ledge where it could collapse. But knowing that it's in your hands, if you have faith in yourself and knowing that you have the right systems, you have the right philosophies, you have the right team, the right culture, and you believe that it can work, then it's just a matter of taking that step and doing it.
Yeah, believing in your vision. Yeah, that's great. So you've been a great guest. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the listeners that I haven't asked you?
Get involved. As crazy as that sounds, it doesn't take a lot to get involved. It can be as simple as a letter to your congressional person, state, federal, it doesn't matter. Being in a small state, like we have, just over 1 million people, we just crossed 1 million people in our state. Our congressional people are our next door neighbors. So it's not as hard to get involved because we all know them. Whereas compared to the bigger states like Texas, it can be more difficult, but they take every letter, every email under consideration. Even if you don't think they do, they read it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's great advice. And no matter what, no matter what level you're at, I mean, the teachers too. We had an event that happens up at the State House, right? I mean, it was like kind of rally for childcare. And I would go so often. And one year my teachers are like, oh, I wish I could go. I was like, you know what? You go. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to watch your class. You go. They loved it. They were so jazzed and they got to feel like they were part of something bigger. And, when they got out there and they saw how many people, they're like, wow, what we are doing really matters. So it could just even be things as simple as that. But thank
Couldn't
you.
agree more.
Yeah,
Couldn't agree
thank you.
more. Yeah. Teachers are getting involved, are great. We have a couple teachers that are actually ambassadors now for the CDA for our
Yeah,
state, as well as they're going to Advocacy Day. So getting teachers involved is fantastic.
I love it. I love it. I think too, the last piece of advice I'll leave for folks is I don't want anybody to have their worth set on the number of centers you have. It's quality that matters. And we all have different capacities. We all have different things that we want to do in our life. For me, I've had 6 centers. I know I could do it. I probably could have had 12. For me, I also wanted to do other things. And there is a certain level of responsibility as you start to scale up. It becomes, times 2, 4, 6, right? It's a lot. So I'd say do what matters the most. Understand your bandwidth, what you can do with the resources you have. And sometimes the resources is money, but sometimes, like you said, the most important resources is the people. People are the most important part in this field. So
If you do
Hey,
what you love,
guys.
it'll never work.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors at Jackrabbit, your all-in-one platform. If you need help with any part of your enrollment system, managing your day-to-day, they have got you. The link is below. As always, have a great day.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sakosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.